This is Tanya Lynn with the Sistership Circle podcast. From spirituality, sexuality, and sisterhood to business, relationships, contribution, and creativity, the Sistership Circle podcast introduces a new model of feminine leadership where women get real and vulnerable about it all. Tune in for authentic advice that will empower you to be bold, beautiful, and brilliant as your true self. Awesome. Here we go. I'm so excited today because we are going to be speaking with Karen Brody, the author of Daring to Rest. And I just have to start with a little story about me and Karen, because this is just the coolest thing ever. And then we're going to have her share about Yoga Nidra and really about how to take care of yourself as a woman and make sure that you're getting the rest and the restoration that you need so that you can be the greatest contribution that you're here to be in the world. So I'll share this little story and then we'll have her share her story as well. So I was basically deciding that I needed to take a break, and this was in December, and I was feeling really, really burned out and exhausted. I have a 5-month-old, and just from constant breastfeeding at night, wasn't getting any sleep, and it really hit me hard. And I was just so exhausted. And then my toddler's waking up in the middle of the night, and I literally was just not getting any sleep. And I had this complete meltdown on the floor of my bathroom, calling my husband to come home and get me, calling my mom to come and pick me up, and take care of me. And just like, I need to stop. And that felt like a death to actually stop everything. And so then I go to the post office the next day, and in my P.O. box is Karen's book. And I'm like, this is interesting. And I'm looking at the title, and it's like, it's hitting me. Oh my God. Like, here is what I just was telling the universe. I needed some rest, right? And what I learned, the big takeaway that I got, is that I don't actually need to stop everything. I just need to incorporate rest. That's it. And it was just like, hallelujah. Oh my God. So I look Karen up, and I'm like, I know this woman. How do I know her? And I go onto my Facebook Messenger, and I see that there was a thread of us connecting 5 years ago when I did an event in Washington, D.C. And so I reach out immediately. I'm like, oh my God, I got to tell you my story. And oh my God, can I interview you? And here we are. And I've gone through the 40 days. It was fabulous. So welcome, Karen. Thank you for being here with us. And I can't wait for us to just dive in and share this amazing work that you've been doing. So
thank you so much, Tanya. I love to believe in divine intervention, that, there are no mistakes. We get what we need if we open to receiving. And so there you were, and there the book was. And I collapsed on the bathroom floor with two who were both under the age 19 months apart. And I have been there. We're just, there's a lot of people to feed, so to speak, and literally, figuratively, everything. And we stop feeding ourselves. And then we forget how to even feed ourselves, how to be good to ourselves. And so this book is really trying to help women revive themselves, really reboot all of themselves and reclaim their power and not have to, it's not an either or, like it's not a rid of all the work you're doing. That's the problem. In fact, I wrote this book a lot because women are out and literally leaving leadership jobs, leaving these projects often that they on earth as a mission, part of their mission. It was part of their life purpose, but they could do it all, do it all. And so this book is really about rest and about how to incorporate it, but it's also in today's world where we don't have to give up our big dream, but we also really have to honor the pause, rest, daring to rest. So I'm excited about talking today.
And I'm feeling myself getting emotional and like goosebumps, and I'm just like, this has just been such a godsend to me, and I'm just really wanting to honor all the mamas out there right now who are, especially number 2. I mean, it's almost like I forgot because it had been 2.5 years since my first birth. And then, and then I find my flow and I found my groove, and then boom, number 2 comes, and it felt like starting all over again. And it felt like just complete upheaval again, right? With any structure, anything that I had created for myself, any type of self-care. I mean, it just literally went all out the window. And so it's huge that, I mean, the work that you're doing is just so important because, it was just such a godsend for me with number 2. And I know that there's so many women who are not wanting to give up their work, or on the flip side, are afraid of getting pregnant because they're afraid that they'll have to give up their work. Right?
That's a really great point.
And so
Absolutely.
How do we hold both? How do we really truly hold being a mother and being a change agent in the world? And I believe that it's possible, and I feel like you have one of the secret ingredients there. So I'd love for you to share your story. I mean, if you want to comment on that, but how you found Yoga Nidra and how you came about creating this book.
Well, no, thank you. And I mean, I wrote this book because I believe in the deep pause and how profound it is and how rest is a remedy. And it's so simple. It's so cheap. It's so easy. But the art of doing nothing has been lost. Reclaim it. And I think women especially need to reclaim it because it's almost like a plug-in to our feminine. We have so much masculine energy in our culture, just pushing us to do and be, and the feminine, the balance, obviously you all know that, and rest is such an easy way to get it. But we forgot how to rest. We don't even know how to rest. So Yoga Nidra kind of teaches us how to wind down, how to power down, how to go to zero stress. And my story is one of really also at the time my kids were very young. They were, I'm trying to think of exact ages, but they were both under 2. One was 6 months. The other one was about 2. Yeah, or just over 2. They're both under 3, but they were, I was not getting any sleep. I was like running over curbs, going through stop signs, just like a drunk driver. I hadn't thought about it. Question a joke. You sort of make it the punchline and then you keep on going. It really wasn't very funny because one day I ended up in a supermarket and had a really intense panic attack. And with that panic attack, I thought I was dying. I didn't know it was a panic attack. I really just thought, I've got to get to the hospital and I'm certainly dying. And my husband was away because he traveled about 5 months of the year. So I was alone with the kids most of the time. And I say this in the book, he was spirited. And that's a polite way of saying, he really he never stopped crying. It was no matter how much we'd hold him, it was just nonstop day and night. And so we would eat with a vacuum cleaner on. And we did this. That was the only way he would calm down. The vacuum cleaner was he would just kind of get chilled out with the white noise of the vacuum cleaner. And so, I was exhausted. And, when I had that panic attack, I did think I was dying. Ironically, it was the first day I had both kids in some kind of care and I was starting to get back to work and get back to myself. And I was giddy that day. I was in a great mood. And that's when the panic attack came. Side of the family has heart attacks and all of that stuff. And it's got to be something like that. But no, it was a panic attack and wanted me to go on anti-anxiety medication, which I was a real organic mama. So that was just, I barely took an Advil at the time. So anti-anxiety medication, but I did it because we have to go on. We have to soldier on. And being good to myself didn't seem like an option. Taking rest, I didn't even know about rest. I told myself, and I've always felt I wasn't a napper. I didn't feel that good if I took a nap. And when the kids napped, of course, you want to get things done. So I really went so long without rest. And the anti-anxiety medication helped me, honestly, to continue that paradigm, to continue the worn out woman archetype, you know, to keep going, to keep doing, and to not really look and evaluate my life and see whether I was living in rhythm with the truth of who I am, with what my needs were, all of it. I didn't have, and I think that's okay. You know, I think we have bridges in our lives where we need to take maybe a pill. The problem is when we get, for me, it was 3 years later. I've talked to moms who are on postpartum depression medication for 10 years, and then they realize they're not postpartum anymore 10 years later, right? And yet, when they start Yoga Nidra, and for me it was the same thing, I didn't actually start it to help alleviate the anxiety, but I found within a year I was off the anti-anxiety. I didn't need it anymore. And I've seen that with other moms who've been on depression medications. I'm not saying everyone, you know, get off your medications for some situations, and everyone obviously, and I say this in the book, you have to advise with your healthcare provider. Everybody's unique. But what I will say is that Yoga Nidra meditation is this all natural sleep aid. It's a sleep-based meditation technique. So I found Yoga Nidra really by accident when I was going into a yoga studio near my house. I took my kids to preschool. It was the first day they were both in some kind of care. Actually, a long time. I had a lot of juggling, a lot of piecing things together. But finally I said, okay, I'm working, but I'm going to give myself an hour of yoga. So I walked into this yoga studio. I'd been eyeing it for a while. And I thought I was going to take a bendy, stretchy yoga class, definitely get off the baby weight, things like that, get back into shape. And then I heard this woman's voice, really calm voice, leading a Yoga Nidra meditation session. I didn't know what it was. I walk in, I look in the room, and there are these women, about 25 women, lying down, blankets on them, eye pillows, looking totally blissed out, taking what looked like the best nap of their life. And I was just like, I want to take God. What is that?
Yes.
You know? And they told me at the front desk, that's called yogic sleep. That's Yoga Nidra. It's the sleep of the yogi. And I was like, what? I've been a meditator for years already. I mean, I was with Thich Nhat Hanh for years. I had been meditating, and I had never heard of Yoga Nidra. I never knew you could lie down, or that's something designed to sleep of the yogi. Like, what? And I thought yoga was always really active. I didn't realize there was this deep, restorative, conscious relaxation tool like Yoga Nidra until I saw that class. And I was hesitant to sign up because I thought, am I going to really pay for a nap? Like, what? That's kind of weird. But then I realized, yeah, this is what mama needs. In fact, I was giving my kids naps. I was adamant about them napping because what happens when we're cranky? We need to rest or else we continue to be cranky. So why did I not think that, of course, my crankiness might be due to lack of sleep? So I literally signed up right then. I would go every Friday at noon. Mama got her nap at noon. And I just became, like, number one, a nicer mommy. Like, really, I started feeling really open and loving and kind. And I started just really feeling worthy of rest. Like, wow, I'm worthy of this time. Like, I need this. I really sat there laying down, and then I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, I might have felt, you know, if I would have described my body, it would have been barely breathing. That's what I would have said, that I was barely breathing. And I laid down and very quickly started feeling restored, because Yoga Nidra, 45 minutes feels like 3 hours of sleep in your body, which is also why I kind of, honestly, why I was attracted to pay for a Yoga Nidra class, because I wanted bang for my buck, you know, as a mom.
Totally.
Work for you like that? That's amazing. And I did. I felt so refreshed. I couldn't believe it. All the other women, it's like we had this glow, like everyone just looked at each other, the Yoga Nidra glow, smile and just walk out like, yeah, this is magic. And I just kept thinking, why don't more people know about this? Why don't more moms, like, this is mom porn. I mean, really, this is. So I just really made it my mission to bring it to people. And when I, at the end of the year, like I said, I didn't expect to be off the anti-anxiety medication, but I was. And also, you know, I really, I didn't realize how much it would boost my creativity and my juiciness as a writer, because that's something, again, we are here to be connected to ourselves, to be connected and calm, but we are also here to become. Our souls want us to really hold both, the being and the becoming. And the becoming piece really coming loud and clear to me about a lot of creative things that I was trying to do. Like I was, at the time, I had interviewed 118 women about their birth experiences, and I thought I was writing a book about birth. But what came through in my Yoga Nidra was the play. You got to write a play. And so I wrote a play called Birth. Some people might have heard of it. It's been in 75 cities around the world, languages, and it's raised over $1 million to improve maternity care. And wow. I heard that in my Yoga Nidra. And so I don't believe, you know, one of these things is meditation's now being billed a lot as do it and you will be more productive. I actually don't really, especially, you know, Yoga Nidra and rest is a practice of really having no agenda. It's the art of doing nothing. But in that pause, it's often when we become the seer, when we see even more deeply into our lives, when we're anchored into our truest self. And that's when we can really rise up and be these beautiful, glorious, well-rested, juicy women in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's not perfect. There's no perfection. I think I want to really emphasize that to people, because rested woman is an archetype. It doesn't mean every day we feel well rested, but it means that we actually are tapped into rhythm, and we know when we are out of rhythm, we have a tool now to come back in to rhythm, right? So if you put out energy, you need to bring in energy. It's just a inhale, exhale, right? And a lot of women who are change makers are a lot of, you know, inhale and we never exhale. You know, my hand's raised. I really had a PhD in burnout. You know, that's really why when I found Yoga Nidra, I couldn't believe I found this tool, not to do more, but to learn how to do nothing. And then in the pause, I actually began to be able to do in the way that really served myself and served others, instead of just serving others.
And that is feminine leadership, leading by example, right? I mean,
yeah.
I relate with so much of what you said, from, you know, like meditation just didn't feel good because it was something I had to do. And it seemed like more of an obligation and something that was going to require something of me. So the idea of laying down and putting a blanket over me and just listening to you, and you have the most amazing voice and your audio is just so amazing, but it was just like, you. I just get to listen and just receive. And just the way you were saying there about the magic of when we lay down and we pause, the messages come in. And that's what's so powerful, is like, that is truly creating from the feminine, is like, let's listen and allow the wisdom to come to us versus trying to figure it out, which I see so many women doing. We're striving, we're trying to figure it out. We're all up here in our head. And when you do Yoga Nidra, you get to drop into your body and receive messages, and it's just so brilliant. And then that's when the best stuff comes. Your play that has raised $1 million. I mean, that came from Yoga Nidra. So it's just so powerful.
Yeah, women get so many hits on so creative.
Yes.
Method, we listen for soul whispers for the 40 days. And I really have designed it as 40 days. Well, first of all, if you think about the postpartum period, in a lot of cultures, in Latin America especially, they take 40 days to that is a very common thing that the grandmother, everyone supports to rest. And I thought to myself, well, women give birth to more than babies, right? We give birth to babies where we do need the rest. So I hope everyone who's postpartum takes a 40-day yoga nidra rest, daring to rest time for them. But then we have times where we birth a book, we birth, a business, whatever it is. We grieve a loss of a loved one, times where we divorce, and we need a transition time. 40-day practice is it's a beautiful, just a womb to put yourself in, of rest and love and peace. And honestly, I tell women all the time, I don't know what they're going to learn from it. I have no idea. Everybody's so unique. I can tell you what I learned, what I got out of it, but I'll tell you, people shock the hell out of me all the time what they're getting from it. And I'm leading a group right now that there are things coming up. It's just bringing me to tears. What people are learning and what about themselves and the soul whispers they're receiving and the messengers that are coming, because when we in the Daring to Rest process go into the wisdom body, I guide women to bring them forth. And this Council of Women is always available to us, but we're so busy every day we don't remember that the universe has our back. The feminine has our back, and the Council of Women isn't always women. Sometimes there's a man there as well, but it's the feminine energy that has our back, and we forget. But these 40 days are days really taken so that we can remember. We can remember what we already knew. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. And so I would love for you to actually just guide us through and create a little
Yeah.
experience of us doing Yoga Nidra. What was really interesting is when I lived in New York, I found this meditation that was similar. And I don't know actually if it was Yoga Nidra, and I can't find it, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but it kind of guided me through. And then what I found interesting is when I was going through a really deep healing process, my mentor had actually created some Yoga Nidra audios, and I never listened to them. And he never actually mentioned what they were or what they did. So I just found that fascinating that I'm now discovering it now. And I was going through the files the other day and found it. And I was like, what? This is crazy. Like, why did I never see this back then? So I feel like things always come into our awareness when we need them most, right? And so if you're listening
Absolutely.
to this now, you probably need that rest, just like I did. And so here's Karen helping us here. So I'd love for you to guide us through, like even just 5 minutes of Yoga Nidra, and then we can talk a little bit more about the book before we wrap up. So how's that sound?
Okay, absolutely. Beautiful. Great. So I'm going to invite everyone to just close your eyes and just begin to slowly breathe in and out. Just ever so slowly. And just to transition from what we've just been talking about to this more inner world of Yoga Nidra, just begin to massage your face. So taking the palms of your hands, and you can begin anywhere on the face, but maybe it's at the forehead, and just bringing both hands around the sides of the face. You can go around your eyes and just massaging it, your cheeks, moving to the jaw, and going down to the chin. Now we'll begin to rotate attention throughout the body, beginning the space between the eyebrows. Just rest here for a moment. And now going to the right eyebrow, left eyebrow, right eye, left eye, right nostril, left nostril, the mouth, the right jaw, the left. Moving to the throat, the neck, going to the right shoulder, left shoulder, down from the right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, right hand, right wrist, right shoulder, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, left hand, left wrist, elbow, left shoulder. Pelvis, right hip, thigh, right knee, right shin, right ankle, right foot, right ankle, right knee, right hip, left hip, left thigh, left knee, left shin, left ankle, left foot, left ankle, left knee, hip. Now begin to come. Feel your whole head, your whole head. Feel your whole head. Feel the neck and the throat. Notice sensation in the neck and throat. The chest, the abdomen, the pelvis, the whole body. Feel your whole. Notice your whole body. Right side of the body, left side of the body, in front of the body, the space behind the body, your whole body. Beginning to breathe in and out. Allow the body to feel like it's breathing itself. The body breathing itself in and out. And on the next inhalation, inhale, and as you exhale, purse your lips as if you're blowing through a straw, and exhale slowly, long as you exhale, letting go, and breathing in when you're ready, at your own pace, exhaling like you're blowing through a straw. Just continue to do this on your own a few times. Now stop to the space between your eyebrows. Notice sensation in your body. Notice any pulsation, vibration in the body. And slowly begin to feel your body getting warm. And now slowly, just slowly begin to breathe in and out, using your in and out like you're blowing through a straw. And do this 3 times, and on the 3rd breath, open your eyes. We've started to go into Yoga Nidra. The 15-minute process to this begins. We've gone through right now the physical body and the energy body and a little bit of the mental body. These are 5 bodies that reside in us. The yogic teachings talk about these koshas, or 5 bodies of awareness. And Yoga Nidra is a map that takes you through all of them, and it cleans them. It's like Mr. Clean. You know, you don't need a cleanser. You just need Yoga Nidra. It'll clean the bodies, and you see the seat of your soul. It points you back to your true nature. It's your power operating from there. And it really relaxes the body. It takes you into deep sleep. So your waves are, they've measured them. They are delta, theta brainwaves, and then below that to a 4th state of consciousness known as Turiya. It's a really, you can't get there with normal sleep, so you end up in this state of no thoughts. It's what Yogi Amrit Desai calls the zero stress zone. And in that zero stress and no thoughts, we plant intentions in Yoga Nidra. I didn't take you all through intentions right now, an intention, but intention's very important in Yoga Nidra. And, your subconscious mind is very open, very fertile in this 4th state of consciousness. And when you repeat your intention 3 times, inner critic coming in, which we have in our busy lives, going, no, I'm not really worthy. You actually hear, I am worthy, and you believe it. And you wake up from Yoga Nidra and you live it. You live it. And it manifests in different ways. And all your organs are rebooted as well. So the physical, that's why I laid down initially with Yoga Nidra. I was so bone tired. And that piece is addressed so well in Yoga Nidra. This takes to deep sleep and beyond. So if you're not sleeping well, your organs aren't regenerating. Yoga Nidra helps them to regenerate, to even completely reboot. It's like a rewiring. It's very exciting.
Yeah, when I started doing this last month, and I would be awake, wide awake at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was angry. because I was like, I don't want to be right now, you know, and I would just get so frustrated, and I just put the headphones on. It would put me back to sleep. I would just fall asleep. But interestingly, as soon as it stopped, I would wake up. So I'm like, was I really asleep, or was I just in the yogic sleep? Right. And that's, I think one of the biggest takeaways I got was, there's no perfect way. If you fall asleep, it's still working on you, you know? So it was like letting go of any pressure of like, oh, I have to do it a certain way. And, you know, like the meditation that I practice is Vipassana, which is very strict. And this just gave a lot of permission. It felt very, feminine in that way, very compassionate practice. And that's one of the things that I loved and I got so much value from.
You know, and my teachers always taught me this in Yoga Nidra, that if you fall asleep, you needed to fall asleep. And your subconscious mind, there's a part of you that's always awake. So your subconscious mind hears my voice and it will imprint on you. So there will be a lot of benefit even if you fall asleep. But if you don't fall asleep, you don't think you hear my voice, you're just in that very deep, deep state of meditation, that fourth state of consciousness, which is like home run. Yoga Nidra home run, you know? I mean, and there's no competition when I say that, because it's all good. And that's why I talk to women a lot about chucking perfect, and women have told me even more fucking perfect, you know? No, I don't want to chuck perfect. I want to fuck perfect. And, you know, I think there's something to that, in that this is a very gentle practice. This is no wrong way to do it. You can even not lay down. You don't have to lay down. I've worked with seniors before who often want to sit up, or people late in their pregnancies who often want to lie on their sides, or whatever it is. You find the most comfortable, cozy position for you. And another thing we do a lot, I do these 40 days, this practice, is invite women to find in their home a way to create a rest cave space. It could be just in your bed. It doesn't have to be, you know, something to put on Pinterest. It doesn't have to be, you know, it can be very, very basic. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of women who have very young kids, and their rest cave is their bed, but we use a touchstone, while we practice Yoga Nidra. There's into the practice to make it very, sacred. And that's what I hope for women. And the more we can claim space, and a lot of women are clearing out their basements this week, because we've started our 40-day Yoga Nidra meditation practice, and they're just saying, wait a minute, this was the dump room, because there often is space in your life. Sometimes there's not easy space. I've lived in places, in apartments, that's harder, but I've put an Asian divider up, and I've had a little space in my bedroom where I had a blanket, and I laid on top of a blanket, and then I put a blanket on top of me just to make it a little cozier, and I had a candle. So just, you know, claim space. It's like women need a room of their own. I mean, come on, we do.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
My husband made a sound bed, and so he has, it's amazing. And I go into it on there, and it's just like this really cozy, tiny little bed in our living room in the corner. And it's perfect. So whether it's there or in my own bed, you know, it's just whatever works.
Yeah, well, it was my minivan for many years, okay? I literally practiced Yoga Nidra in my minivan because my son, he had practice, he had so many soccer practices at one point in his life, and I had no other time to practice. I was working full time, and you know what? I parked the car, I dropped him off. I used to go food shopping, but actually what I realized is I could ask my husband to go food shopping, or I could go food shopping on another day. And what I would do is I would literally practice my Yoga Nidra in my minivan, park it in the soccer practice place, and I would just lean the chair back. You know, you can do it on an airplane, whatever. I've done it in the New York City subway, but I wouldn't really, a quieter place is better, but I have definitely plugged into Yoga Nidra, even on a subway.
Well, it's a way of keeping yourself sane too, with all the everything
it
going
keeps
on,
you
right?
calm.
Yeah.
Especially people who have anxiety, it's a nice way to keep calm. It's a really nice way to keep calm. Yeah. Just don't do it while driving.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Absolutely.
writing this book, for being with me today and our tribe here. And so everyone, we'll have a link to the Daring to Rest book, so you can go and grab that book. And also, so you want to share about your website? It's daringtorest.com.
Yeah. If people go to daringtorest.com, you'll find really everything in the whole Daring to Rest movement is there. And, my focus is really on helping to train women to share this with others, to share Daring to Rest with others, because, I'm one person and I realize I get so many requests, but I can't go and be everywhere. And so I have trained people in Yoga Nidra meditation, mostly midwives and doulas for years. And now with this book and this method, people to share rest with others, to really, diversify their businesses or whatever it is, to have another offering. And Daring to Rest is one of them. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
And what's great about the book, everyone, is when you get the book, it then takes you to the page to get the audios of Karen with her lovely voice, taking you through three different types that are sequential. They work within the 40-day program. And so you get those as part of the book. So I highly recommend grabbing this book and diving in. I mean, it's been life-changing. So thank you again, Karen.
Tanya, great to hang out with you and your whole tribe.
Absolutely.